Yo, what's going on, guys? This is the build that I'll be using for today's video. And the main thing about it is the piercing bite. Now, the main reason I like the piercing bite is it ignores all armor and weight of the target. So this is great for killing apexes and anos. For example, the ano is considered one of the dinos that are unkillable, but the piercing bite makes it very easy to kill an ano. You can kill it within 5 bites if you got time shot. Now, as the video goes on, I'll kind of show that. Now, the only problem with the piercing bite is it has a very long delay, and it also has like 20-second cooldown. But other than that, it's actually really good. When you get that timing down, it can be even better. So it's definitely one of the highest skill moves for sure. Now, I've went over the build pretty much on my other video, so there's no point in me doing the same thing in this one, so I'm just going to go over the gameplay. So here we're fighting a Titan and Apache, and all we're really trying to do here is bait out the piercing bites, as we could tail ride them occasionally, but the only problem is he is Duke, so there's a chance that we can take a lot of unnecessary damage. So the best thing to do here is just bait out our bites, big bites. We also have an Alio friend, which doesn't seem to be adult. You can see how fast we killed the Tyranno Titan. Also, my friend is using the same exact build as I am. So yeah. Here me and my friend are working together to cut this guy off, and you can see I end up catching him. So in this clip, me and my friend got into a fight with this eel trick. And same thing as before, we're just trying to get our piercing bites off without getting hit. Good thing about the eel, it's got really good turn radius. It's slow, but it still has good turn radius, and also the hit reg on eel's attacks are really good as well. Now you don't have any jukes or anything that I stomped I need to worry about. So I can just tail ride them the whole time and then just move out the way whenever my friend needs to piercing bite him. So yeah. And I mean, the only thing that eel has to protect its back is the automatic tail attack, which I think is pretty bad. You definitely could use something else. But yeah, you can see an ano also shows up, and this ano is going to be easy to kill when we get our health back. And you can see they get a duck as well. And while you're here, my friend invited a random Alio to help us out, which is nice for Tyrant Troll ×3, but the Alio ended up using it too far away from me, so I only had Tyrant Troll ×2. We do want to focus the ano first, because it's the easier kill, but we also aren't going to let the duck get too over aggressive, you know, without punishing it. The one thing you do have to watch out with the ano is when it won't snatch you just like that. That's when the duck can really punish you. Yeah, did a lot of damage here. It's also sometimes very hard to tell when your character's sprinting and when it's not. So it'd be nice if you know, when you auto run, it shows you that you're auto running. It would be cool if there was something for like showing if you sprint, because when you're bone broke you can't really tell if your guy's sprinting or not, or when you're fractured even. And now another thing is the hide that I use is meant to fight smaller dinos. That way I'm just more versatile. I could use a different hide. It would make me a lot harder to kill for apexes. But you can see I get stuck on my teammate here and I actually end up dying right there. But anyway, we made our way to top scope. Found this solo stego, which stegos are pretty tough fight for really anything. It's very defensive. It's a good tail attack, does bleed damage. You can see this slit waffle critter as well is very annoying, working in the favour of the stego. But even one of those piercing bites does so much damage. I wish I could show you the health that it takes away from the stego, but you kind of see how fast we deal with this guy. Now I also really want to talk about the sense Feral Instincts really quick, because it says it does 20% more piercing damage, but the thing is, I tested this and it does no more damage than you normally would do without it. So it's really it's pointless, so you're better off just using Tyrant's Presence, or Tyrant's Allies, sorry, and having that 30% more armor. Anyway, we got rid of the Stego, and these circles were fighting an Albert, an Anno, or two Alberts, an EO and an Anno. So we decided that we're gonna fight the Herbies. Also we're gonna try and get the jump on them, but the only problem was there was an Aloe and a Piranha Titan behind. We just didn't want to risk getting attacked by them. So yeah, we decided to go in, and you can see there's another Anno, which it's kind of tough to deal with all of this. So and you can see the Aloes actually end up helping them as well. So at this point we're just trying to create distance, get away from the Annos and the EO, because they can't keep up the pace. And this Aloe, I thought he was out of stamina, so I just done a 180 and took the fight with him, and I actually ended up missing that piercing bite. It can be very hard to land sometimes, but yeah. Either way, this Aloe's just like not a good matchup for Dasps. Dasps play very well against the Aloe, because Aloe doesn't build into a team setting. So yeah. And also, not only that, everyone turned against us. Not only the Annos, the EO, the Titan, everything, even the circles tried to kill us. Anyway, we ended up killing that Aloe, healed up, and started fighting these this EO and the Anno. Not sure where the Tyranno Titan went, but yeah. Also there was these Raptors that also helped them. Now Anno recently got its TOC, and I think the TOC is actually very good. A lot of people don't like it. I really like it because it plays more into a team setting, and there's also a really good solo build, which maybe I'll do a video about that sometime soon. But anyway, back to the fight. We pop Tyrant's Roar, and our main goal is just take care of the Anno, because if the Anno bone snaps us, then the EO can punish us really good. And you can see the Anno and the EO kind of made distance between each other, which was a mistake on the Anno's part. But yeah, piercing bite has always been against been good against Annos and Apexes, even before the Anno got its TOC. So it's not like this is working just because of a change. No, it's still it's always been like this. I've never really seen a lot of people, besides like maybe one person, use this to counter Annos. Maybe it wasn't very well known, but yeah. And you can see I get really low, and we end up killing a few small dinos. They just make a bunch of mistakes. I took this one to the water. He was hoping that he would be able to kill me in time, but because of my skills, I buck twice as much stamina, so it didn't work out for him. Anyway, I seen my friend getting beat up, so I just decided that I'm gonna come help him even if I die. It's better to help out. You can see I end up punishing this raptor, but I end up surviving this whole thing as well. And we seen Sarko come down, and we were using this water as protection from the small stuff, and we really didn't want to let this guy back in, and I really made a mistake right here. I shouldn't have got that far, but it ends up that two circles end up fighting each other, so I got lucky. Anyway, on to the next one. We found a Neo. Now if you use, for example, block on Neo in the sense that gives you extra armor for blocking stuff, same as Albert, there's no point of, it's good to let you block your hits obviously, but there's no point of blocking it for that armor increase, because As I said, the piercing bite goes through armor, so it's pointless. So you may as well use that time that you could have hit him. Instead of blocking, just hit. And obviously if you can block these big hits, then do it. But yeah. You can see the seal does a great job of blocking the big hits. You know, if this guy was using head slam instead of block, then he could have been in. This would have been a lot easier to deal with. But yeah. Either way, there's not much you can do as an Apex because you don't have the speed to punish. Also doesn't have bone snap. The only thing it has is a charge, but charge is very predictable and you can easily just get out of the way of a charge. So yeah. Now you do want to be in and out when you're using this, but you know, he put himself in a very good position, you know, behind these rocks. So we just kept on getting stuck on the rocks or either the EO itself. So that was difficult. But here, I let my friend go first and I went second. Just that way we pinch them together. And here we got into a fight with a Rex at Riverland. And he was just sitting in the water. Which didn't do anything for him because we just, every chance we got to pierce and bite him, we did. And the pierce and bite did a lot more damage to him than him just biting us one time. So it wasn't worth it for him bite for bite when he did more damage, especially with Tyrant Thrower ×2. Before this we landed the bite like twice as well. Not sure what he was trying to do there. Also you can see my friend takes a swim, which was unfortunate. He took a lot of unnecessary damage there, but it just still doesn't matter. This guy died within like 5 piercing bites. It's actually very crazy. I feel like fighting Rexes on the Dasp with a piercing bite is so easy. And my friend went to go deliver the trophy and he seen an Ano at the other side of the lake. So we took the fight and you can see how like the Ano really just can't defend itself against the Dasp with piercing bite because it just, you know, it can't get away, especially now that it can't move and tail smash, you know. And even then it didn't matter because you're just not fast enough as a Nano and you're just like a stationary target. It's very easy to kill the Ano as a Dasp using the piercing bite. So it's like the ultimate counter to Anos. I think it's good. There should always be a counter to a Dino, or even just a bad matchup, you know. That way it balances things out because what else could really like kill Anos before, and even now, when they just, you know, get in that crouch position. So yeah, I think it's just nice. And yeah. But I do really like the Ano TLC. I think it's good. It's a lot more understandable now when people play Ano. I don't really like playing stuff like the Ano or any Apexes because, you know, you can't really take the fight to people. The fight has to come to you. Whereas, you know, smaller, medium-sized dinos can, you know, hunt a lot more things. Anyway, we took this 2v2 with these arrows, and you can see the piercing bite, which probably did a lot of this guy's damage. And these guys were running hatchet bite, or one of them was at least, and me and my friend took a note of that. So we, as soon as we figured that out, we decided to focus that one because we knew he couldn't get into a firefight, or just, you know, a face fight, you know. So yeah, that was the main thing. But his friend did a really good job of putting the pressure on himself and getting himself killed to keep his friend alive. But it didn't matter. Anyway, we found the arrows again, fighting some other things, and we didn't go chasing them. We decided we would fight these apexes, as it's just easier. And we go for this Spino, just to put him low, just to get him out of the fight for when we go fight the other things like the Tyranno Titan. Even though we know he can escape in the water, just get him out, get him away, make it easier for us to take care of this Tyranno Titan. Now I was being careful with this Tyranno Titan because he was in deep water, but it made us swim, so it was don't want to take too much unnecessary damage, because if we do, then something smaller can come over and pick us off. And there's a few random people just helping us out, which that was cool, I guess. But we didn't know anyone. But you can see how fast the Tyranno Titan died. It literally took one piercing bite. And you can see my friend teabagging him because he fought him earlier, and there was a mega pack of them. And we started fighting this Rex, who just kept running. I imagine he was going to try and put himself up against this cliff, but you can see he ends up jumping off. And this raptor tries to come and help him or save him or something, but the guy was already dead. Yeah, not sure what he was trying to do there. Anyway, we went back to SLL and we saw that these arrows were questing. It was the same ones from earlier, and they were running about a decent amount, so we were just gonna let them run out of stamina. But then we seen that it kind of stopped, so we didn't want to just let them regain stamina. So we took the fight to them. We probably could have saved our Tyrant's Roar for a little bit later. Could have got a little bit closer, but you never know if someone decides to start running at you or running away. And they start running away, but the Dasp is just a little bit faster, and you kind of have like the same amount of stamina. So yeah, and they turned back and fight, which a pretty good move by them. That was really got his hatchet bite off. But the thing is, because we have Tyrant's Roar and Tyrant's ally, these guys can't face tankers, so I was just using my precise turn to try and face tank as much as I could. And I put this guy really low instantly, and I mess up right here. I tried to pierce and bite. I should have just kept biting this guy, but yeah, that was my mistake. And the fight kind of just went on a little bit longer than it should have. But yeah, I see what this guy was trying to do, but he just ran out of stamina. And here we find another Rex, and you kind of see how easily we deal with every single Rex player. I feel like there's a lot of new players playing Rex as well, so that could also be a thing. Maybe this guy was like a mobile player or something. He didn't seem very good, or maybe he was just new at the game. And yeah, and also the baby just laying there, and I just left him. But it can be tough for newer players, especially playing apexes. I definitely advise newer players to play smaller dinos first and get good with a small dino. I feel like once you get good with a small dino, you easily be good with apex, because I just feel like smaller dinos take more skill and there's a bigger skill gap. So playing an apex should come easy after that. But yeah, dealt with that guy really fast. Anyway, we seen these guys killed some people, and we just decided to take this fight against this small group of people. But yeah, you can see this Spectre just eating, and I had just bite on him. The only problem with this build is you can't really punish small dinos unless they make a mistake. So later on, if Ben gets on and he uses a punch bite build, which I might do a video about that, which is really good for punishing small dinos. It's like a burst, and it's just really good for killing small dinos, and it worked really well with this build. That way you could fight just everything. But now some things I think it's good to save your Tyrant's Roar, because if something's low on stam and the Dasp doesn't have a lot of stam. But it has a decent stam, you know. But it's just good to save it sometimes if you're trying to run down a small dino. Occasionally, not always, you know. It's just situational. But yeah. Anyway, we moved on, and a friend got on, and we found this Tyranno Titan. He puts himself up against a cliff, which wasn't a bad idea. I tried to tail hit him off, but he barely managed to stay there, and you can see a random Patchy just flies by trying to kick him off, and he misses, which we end up trying to kill as well, because we're not here to, you know, we're already 3 people, 3 Dasp, that's enough, we don't need anything more. But we're just landing piercing bites onto this guy, and you're gonna see like the amount of damage this puts onto the guy. He kind of just gives up and just jumps off of that cliff. Now here I was trailing a Cerato. I could see that he was running for a decent amount of time, and he ends up resting, and I catch him resting. So you just gotta watch out where you rest. You take 4 times damage when you're fully resting, and then 2 times damage when you're just sitting. So yeah, it takes lots of damage. Anyway, we found these 2 Alberts, and the plan was to get a friend with the shatter build to crunch, to shatter these fracture these Alberts. That way they couldn't run away. And Alberts just aren't very fast anyway to begin with, so that just made it even better. And this guy tries to kick, which is a bad idea. You know, you shouldn't be letting himself get tail ridden like that as an Albert. You know, you have a great turn radius, so use it. And yeah. But you can see this guy's running away, which you just can't. There's nothing you could do here. Anyway, we move on, and we made our way to LBM, and we seen 2 Spinos, and we went for the one closest to the water. That way we can kill him, and then, you know, the other guy's going to be low on stamina because he's going to have to sprint over here to kill his friend. And he uses the stomp, which does good amount of damage. My friend also took a lot of fall damage by accident. He jumped off the cliff. And this Spino actually got here a lot sooner than expected, so that made things a little bit more difficult. But yeah. And you can see we already put this Spino pretty low within, like, you know, 30 seconds, you know. So you can just see how good that piercing bite is. And we killed one, but this other guy puts up a really good fight. We keep on getting stuck on little branches and stuff. And my friend is already 1 hit, so, and you can see he stomps as well. And our other friend, you know, misplays and gets into a face fight with a Spino, which isn't a good idea on the Dasp. I'm just trying to tail ride this guy, you know, put on some good damage. And the thing is, only 2 of us have piercing bite, and the 3rd one has shatter. So, you know, there's this like really hard fight from this point on. So we just left this fight, and one of our friends died already. So we just, you know, tried what we could, but there was no point of, you know, staying here just in case he gets one of his friends to switch to a smaller dino. Not only that, Stomp is very unpredictable, so, you know, I couldn't even take a single shot, so I didn't want to risk it. Even though it has a 30-second cooldown, it's, you know, you're not really sitting there counting the time in your head. Anyway, moving on to the next one, we see this group of Herbies, and we instantly thought we want to kill the Ano, as it's the easiest target. So we gave 2. We really should have just focused 1 first, you know, just get 1 out the way. That's 1 less tail slam that way. And they also had Apache and a Raptor and a Conch, which the small stuff didn't really do anything to us because of our scales. They were just a little bit annoying, really. Just taking distraction off of these Anos, but the main thing was anytime that piercing bite cooldown got off, just, you know, use it and then fight the small things. No point of using your normal bite against the Ano because you end up taking a lot of damage. Unless they aren't in that crouch position, and even then it's just, unless they're really low, there's really no point in taking the risk. I'm not sure what build these guys were using, but they could have been running a group build, but one of the abilities for the group build is 25% armor for people in your group as a nano, and it doesn't matter because, you know, you go through the armor of Anos. So, but they could have also been running the one that gives them 25% damage increase, so that could have really helped them. But now that one of them is dead, it doesn't matter unless the patch is grouped with them as well, which would make sense, to be fair. But yeah. Anyway, we got rid of that one arrow, and you can see this guy kind of starts panicking a little bit. He starts moving around, which it just makes him weaker than before to just normal bites, especially when we get him low. There's not really much you can do like against this because Arno's not fast enough, and yeah, the build just doesn't really play into it. The best thing he could have done is, you know, if they had something different, like instead of an Apache and another Ano, if they had like a Ano and Bosbodia, or an Ano and a duck, you know, something that can just put on a lot of damage while still being able to move, unlike the Ano or like the Apache, because the Apache doesn't really do a lot of damage. So definitely these guys definitely weren't running a good combo. They could have definitely been running something better. But yeah, because the problem that Ano has, it's like, you know what strength is? It's the ultimate tank, you know. It's like impossible to kill unless you run piercing bite. It just can't punish people because not only is it's really slow, but also the only thing it can use while running now is the bone snaps and like the 180 spin or the 360 one, which they don't do a lot of damage, they just do bone snaps, so you just need something that can still move and hit. And the reason I said Bosbodia is because it has that bigger tail slam, so you know it charges up and does a bunch of damage, so you know if you bone snap someone, then they're not going to get away from you. And you can see we end up killing the Apache as well. And these guys, I'm not sure if this was the same people, but you know, it was always kind of the same amount of people that kept coming over. The Conch was still alive helping these guys. They brought another Ano as well. But yeah. So it's just the same thing. Piercing bite, yeah, just the whole time. That's all you have to do against Ano. And you can see you get Talent Shore ×3, which is really nice. That's 30% more damage. And you know, this Conch is running Kick, which it's actually pretty good for fighting bigger dinos. Not because it doesn't really do a lot of damage. Sorry, it can do a lot of bleed. The Conch's bleed really did get nerfed. So yeah, you can see they also have an Amaga, which it's a lot harder of a fight than an Ano. I personally think the Amaga is the best 4 slot in the game. Not only that, it's just like the matchup for Dasp versus Dasp with piercing bite versus the Amaga is really hard because the Amaga's tail hit doesn't have a very long cooldown, and it's very long. Like the tail itself is very long, so it just hits you from super far away and it knocks you back. And this thing just has a lot of stamina and it does a lot of damage too. So you know, when you land one of those piercing bites, it's because they've made a very big mistake, you know. It's really hard to land a piercing bite on Amaga, and you can't just tail ride them, or just, you know, a bite for a tail hit isn't really worth it against the Amaga. If I was, you know, a better build for fighting the Amaga would be just the normal heavy bite, because it's a lot faster, you know, you can time it a lot better, and it's a lot easier to land. Also found with Shatter, could have tried to get in a little bit more and slow them down, which I'm pretty sure at the end of this clip he does do that. But yeah, and once we finally end up running this guy down, You're gonna see in a second they end up bringing a Dasp as well, and you probably thought that was very low or something, but you'll see. But anyway, you can see this guy's been bone snapped or fractured, sorry. And he was probably just out of stamina, that's why he probably couldn't just keep running. We kept on resting, and you can see they bring the Dasp over. And you can't really do much. This guy just shouldn't have took this fight. He should have waited for the rest of his group to come around. And if you're wondering why I'm saying group, you kind of see that this same Dasp returns with a bigger group. And the Conk's trying to help him as well, but you know, this Konk survived for so long, yet the whole time he just did nothing. And that's the thing when you're fighting, it's like, it doesn't always matter about just survivability. If you can't do any damage while your group is fighting, then you're pretty useless. You're just not doing anything. Everyone around you is dying but you. You're the only person alive. It's like, but it's not like you've ever killed anyone, so you're just watching all your friends die. And you can see they also bring an aloe, and I'm perfectly fine with face tanking this guy because I have Tyrant's Rot ×3 and I have Tyrant's Ally, so this guy stands no chance. So, and here this was just a random Kentra player. We just started hunting this guy, and I'm pretty sure the Kentra's faster than the Dasp, but we just did a really good job of cutting this guy off. Anyway, this Dasp that we fought earlier ends up coming back with another Dasp and the same aloe, and I spot them and I tell my friends, and we all get close to each other, and we were trying to get the jump on them, but it's kind of hard to do that, especially when you have to pop Tyrant's Roar. You know, it's very loud, people can tell you're coming. And yeah, and honestly, I'm not sure what I would have done different if I was these guys. I mean, actually I do. That Konk, definitely would have switched off of that Konk. You know, you've seen this guy in the clip for the last like 5 minutes, and he's done absolutely nothing. And you see how fast we dismantled that one Dasp. And it really makes a difference, you know, Tyrant's Raw ×2 to Tyrant's Raw ×3. And you see this guy doesn't even have Tyrant's Raw. He has Carnage, or whatever, it's Rampage I think. And it's just not a good team build at all. These guys were very unorganised. And you can see this aloe once again tries to face tank. Doesn't go his way at all, and he just gets dismantled. And you can see they also bring a Metri. And he just, once again, the Metri is not very tanky. That's the thing about the Metri, it's not very tanky, so you can't just go in and take hits. You have to be smart with the Metri. And you know, the Metri didn't even have time to heal his friends because they just all died. And they bring a Raptor, which literally just does nothing but little chip damage. And then they bring a Meg, because I was using the water to just sit in it and heal, just though the Raptor couldn't do any chip damage. We were very much prepared for them to bring more stuff. And as you can see, they end up bringing, instead of 2 Dasps this time and an aloe, they decide that a good idea is bring 2 aloes and a Dasp, and an aloe and a Konk, and a couple of Raptors. And once again, this guy's using a Rampage, but here's the problem with Rampage. You don't get any type of buffs until you're low. So it's until you're low for that first 50% of your HP, you pretty much do nothing. But yeah. Anyway, I'm just putting distance between me and this aloe, trying to help my friend because I see he's a lot lower. So just trying to help him out as much as I can. And you see what this aloe was doing is his turns were very wide. You know, sometimes it's better to walk and turn instead of just run and turn, because when you run and turn, your turn is a lot more wide, whereas you walk and turn, your turn is a lot more sharper. And my friend accidentally gets in the way of my other friend, and it ends up getting him killed. But yeah, then we just start chasing this aloe down, and he just falls off a cliff. And this aloe just did nothing the whole time. Same as the conch. I actually end up killing this conch, but I accidentally deleted the clip, so this conch does end up dying at the end of the video. I just accidentally deleted it when I was doing some editing. But yeah, that was pretty much it for the whole entire video.